everybody, Ryan Gallant. Thank you for submitting your questions and opinions. Let's get it going, I guess. So first we got Monkey McPot. And the first one says, so everyone on the silver team would ride Ventures and would put a sticker on the Venture logo. That is true. The early silvers they were not the greatest quality, I guess you would say. The team was cool. The people running it were cool. But after like the beginning, everyone just started riding Venture lows. And it was when Venture first started putting the little V on their hanger. Like that used to not be on there. Silver was kind of cool with it. They were just like, guys, if you're gonna ride Ventures, like at least cover the logo. So made these little like stickers that were a little silver logo, and they would fit perfectly over the V. And most of us rode those for our time on silver.
The whole time?
But I rode silvers again later years, and they were better. I'm not gonna say they were great, but they were much better, and I actually rode them that time. I did not cover Ventures.
Did the axle thing work for you guys?
You know, I think I probably took those off immediately. I didn't mess with those weird axle things. The idea behind it was great, but I'm like a traditional skateboard guy, so I didn't really want like extra weird pieces of metal sticking out of my wheels. But good job for trying to be innovative, I guess. That's cool. Next says, Devin Calloway was almost on Plan B. I don't know if he was almost on Plan B, but I think we tried to get him in the early days. There was definitely some talk, and we wanted him for sure, but he didn't get on Plan B, so I guess he was happy on chocolate. So, but yeah, that would have been sick. Devin still is one of my favorites. He just had such a good style and trick selection, and good fit on chocolate though, and now primitive. That's pretty awesome. Well, on Plan B, all you rode were girl boards. Semi-true. I rode Plan B boards for a little bit, but then they kept like trying to come out with a new board, I think. It was kind of PJ's deal. Like he's always trying to make the best skateboard. So I remember there was a time where it was like experimental boards, and also I think, you know, like go see what type of boards you like. And so I started riding girl boards, and I didn't stop. So I just started going to like all the skate shops in San Diego area and buying whatever they had in girl chocolate. I think it was like 775 at the time, or whatever the size was I rode. And
was there a specific like wheelbase?
I don't know, but it was always one shape. You know, it was like they always gave it to the same dude. So it was like, you know, I think Papalardo had the shape a lot, and I'm trying to remember who else had it. Sometimes I'd get too weirded out, and I'd send my now wife, but at the time I think she was my girlfriend. I'd send her in to buy the boards if it was like someone that I thought would like kind of, or if I didn't know him personally well enough to like tell him the truth, I'd be like, yo, go in here and like don't get green top stains. Like if it's a green top, like put it back, yeah, like, and she'd do it. But then that stopped. It actually turned into zero boards for a minute at the end. I like rode a zero board that I really liked, and started skating a couple of zero boards, spray painted or whatever, and then back to KO. So next one, what was your final package from Cons when they had their first run in the 90s? So yeah, my first like sponsor was Converse, kind of. They took me on like a little tour and stuff, and I wasn't but I was like gonna be soon if it kept going, but not close enough to talk to like, you know, the heads up. I didn't know what was going on over there, but I just know one day I got a box, and it was a Master P t-shirt that said Master P bout it, and like a pair of like size like 10.5 Chuck Taylors, and like some flip-flops. And I was like super confused, like where's the Shanny Heliums, where's the El Duques, like, and that was how I found out that Converse was like cutting the program. Apparently it was like I got that box, and then just silence, and then, you know, later talking to Shanny and people or whatever, I think the team manager at the time too just said they were cutting it. But it was an interesting box to receive. I wish I kept the About It t-shirt. I'd probably be pretty sick right now. Next one. How bad did Jamie Thomas want you on Mystery? I don't know. I don't know if he wanted me very bad. And at first, he kind of called me for zero. Basically, living in Massachusetts, I just like received a phone call one day, and it was Jamie. Like, I don't know how he got my number, and I was kind of shocked. Like the dude would even be interested in me. Like, I didn't feel very zero. I think he kind of mentioned that too, that, you know, maybe I could become a little more zero. I was honored. I was kind of stoked. Like Dying to Live had just come out, I think was the video, and I was like really into that skull board, and I thought it could have been cool. And then he threw out the idea of mystery and tossed, you know, some potential team ideas around, but in the long run, I didn't do it. I just stuck with Expedition because it just kind of felt right. And I know Jamie's, you know, work ethic is awesome, but maybe a little extreme for some. And I think for me, I was a little intimidated. I was kind of like to cruise, you know, and I didn't want to feel bad for cruising. So yeah, who knows what could have happened? Maybe I could have been more zero, you know, like I always wanted to get into handrails, but yeah, he did come to Massachusetts on a tour and hit me up. This is during the time when I was talking to him. They were doing a demo, so I like showed him how to get there. Like he actually followed me in the van. There was like 2 vans, and they went and like did the demo. And I didn't skate in it because I didn't ride for Zero, and it would feel weird skating in their demo kind of. But I know afterwards he was kind of like, okay, so let's go to your house and just pick up a backpack, and you can just hop in and finish this tour out, you know. Yeah, I just wasn't on the same, I don't know, I wasn't ready to jump in the van. So I think that probably bummed him out maybe a little too. Like I said, I don't think I was on the same page, but super Jamie fan and honored that he was even into me whatsoever. Like it seemed so random to me, but yeah, that was cool. Hate FV says, how are the kickflip melons these days? I have no idea. I haven't tried one in many years. I think I can still do them probably, I would imagine. My ankle is like kind of slow now since surgery. It takes a little bit to warm up, but I think after a few kickflips, I think I could reach down still and yank a melon. Maybe I'll do one soon. It sounds kind of fun right now. Cuban Links. How do you feel about Fat Bill using Betty Davis eyes like 3 months after your part came out? I don't know. I didn't really care. I guess I thought it was kind of odd, but like he probably, I don't know if he watched that Expedition video, you know. He might have already had that song kind of like in his head months before, and I didn't pick that song out either. That was a Welsh decision. I like the song, but I didn't really care at the time too much. I'm sure you've got tons of great stories about filming for Wonderful Horrible Life. What are some of your favorites? I don't know. We were so young, I can't remember every story, but there was just a lot of hijinks back then, you know? Like, you're just at that age where it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, Southie beating people up and, like, you know, we just had such a weird kind of crew, like, eclectic characters, and they'd take us on trips. They were so cool. We'd, like, rent a van or an RV, and they'd go to, like, Montreal or Florida, and it was, like, you know, fireworks and taking the van over jumps and, like, just wiling out. He messed with some people more than others. Like, I don't know if he ever really messed with PJ much, you know? Like, I'm sure, like, some vocal messing. Well, yeah, I mean, everyone would get their fair share, but he was, like, a little rougher with some people. Some people would, a little fly going around. Some people would get, like, consistent wedgies and Charlie horses, and, you know, I didn't get that much of that. Every once in a while, there'd be a little something, but I can't remember really any particular stories during then. We just skated a whole lot and just kind of traveled. But yeah, I think that was on the trip when we drove down to Miami, and we just stopped in Atlanta for like a night or two. We actually caught like, a dude pulled a gun out on us on that trip. That's, I guess, the story I remember. Do you remember the name Graham Bickerstaff? I think that's who it was. Pretty sure that's who was taking us around, or we were at his like house or place he lived. And like I said, we always had fireworks and stuff on us. So like, I think we just stopped for some reason at his house. I don't even know why. And dudes started lighting off fireworks instantly. And like a bush started catching on fire and stuff. And all of a sudden, like this neighbor dude just comes running out with the shotgun. Like, just like, you know, get off our land pretty much. Yeah, and I just remember like, I don't think Graham or whoever it was too stoked probably on us, but that was like those trips. They were kind of hectic, and then like a lot of just skating all day and night because everyone was just skate rats at the time. There wasn't like partying, or I mean, there might have been somewhere in between, but mostly skating and like dumb stuff like fireworks and wrecking rental cars and Do you think Shifty Flips will ever make a comeback? I don't know. I don't know if Shifty Flips have ever really been like a thing. Like, I think they'll always stay right where they are, kind of. Like, some people do them here and there, and they'll probably continue to randomly do them here and there. But it was a big thing, but not like, I don't know, not super thought out, you know? I think we saw Reynolds do one, and like just being kids that were naturally trying to skate all day and progress, you know? Like, it just became something we did for fun, kind of. Like, let's do every type of shifty, like half cab flip shifty, like nollie heel shifty, like, and we just happened to be filming all the time back then too. So it's like, yeah, I wasn't sitting there thinking about like, what's the fucking best line I can do right now. It was like, they'd capture shit and put it in the video, you know? And like, I still like shifty flips. But yeah, I don't think they're ever going to be a very big thing. Some people don't do them good either. Those half-ass shifty flips are kind of the worst. Next we have, my name is not Jeff. Being around and as successful as you have been, are there any regrets you have in your I think that's supposed to say skate career? Example, shooting down sponsors or taking up offers and getting scammed. Probably, yeah. At one point I got offered to ride for Red Bull, like before anyone really had drink sponsors. Like Deer Deck was the only dude on Red Bull, and they were just starting to like mess with skateboarding. And I think they offered me like $1,000 a month to skate for Red Bull. And I said no, because I was like too cool at the time. Like dudes didn't have drink sponsors, you know what I mean? And like, I was like 20 and I didn't care about having an extra $1,000. Like I had enough for a 20-year-old. So I said no. And now that's pretty stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Like that probably would have turned into more and I could still maybe be sitting there somehow and doing something weird with them. But I said no. When keeping it real goes wrong. Let's see what else is there. Any tricks that got away? Probably, but nothing like monumental that I can remember, you know? Like, if things weren't working, I kind of didn't try that long. I never was one to battle for... No, that thing's huge. Dude, every time I see someone do a trick on that, I'm like... It might be one of those optical illusions, like once you ollie out to it, it might not be that crazy, but like, when you stand there, it's like up to your like neck, you know? And it's like... I don't know, I never, oh no, I got out of the page. No, I never messed with that thing. Any tricks you wish you were better at? So many, like all heel flip tricks pretty much, and I've always wanted to do a front foot impossible. Never done one my entire life. Yeah, like I tried one like a couple weeks ago, or tried a handful of them, and I just can't do that one. Next we got Straight. He says, holy shit, definitely one of my all-time favorites. You do, in my opinion, the best flat ground switch flip ever done. I think it's in Wonderful Horrible Life after you do a kickflip nose manual. And then you do a turnaround and do that switch flip. It's so fucking good. Well, thank you. Who has your favorite switch flip? Probably Keenan has the #1. You know, speaking of that, it's always weird when people switch flip tables nowadays for some reason to me. Because it's like, I feel like that was like Keenan's, I don't know. Like he did it, you know what I mean? Like it's weird to me when people switch flip a table. Just switch flip something else. And then Kirchart, probably, Heath Kirchart. When he does a switch flip, it's so like, all his flip tricks are so sick. Thanks for your impact on skateboarding. Thank you. C. Dramone, does that sound right? Sorry, I don't know how to say it. Looked like you were hanging out with Kyle Leeper for a while there. What's he up to these days? He is living in Oceanside. I think he works a lot, and he has kids that do sports and things. So if any of you guys have families and kids and a job, you're kind of get pretty busy, you know? So I don't see him too often. I think he still skates, and his kids have been skating, and I got to go hang out with him soon. We're long overdue. What inspired you to start Visit? I don't know, I kind of always wanted to do a company. Like when I was a kid, I would start pretend companies like in my bedroom, you know. I didn't know if it would be a board company. Like I just kind of wanted to start something. So we kind of started the whole process of getting, you know, trademarks and setting up an LLC. And obviously as a skater, you know, you don't have like forever to skate, you know, but I wanted to somehow be involved to a certain point. Like I guess as much as I wanted to be involved, if that makes sense. And like just kind of do what I wanted. So didn't have a board sponsor at the time and was coming out of a few different surgeries and already had the business end of it set up. So I decided to print some boards. Not that we needed any more board companies, you know, just to see whatever. If someone wanted to buy them, they could, and I would just skate them in the meantime. And it just kind of has been rolling since then. You know, people bought the boards and I made some more and people bought them and made some sweatshirts, and now it's kind of turning into something, which, like I said, I didn't know what it was going to be. I thought it might be like a skate shop at first, or I just kind of trademarked the name for like everything possible. So, favorite flavor of ice cream? Probably cookie dough or Oreo. I like the cookies and cream, anything like that. I kind of like when you throw some extra snacks in there, and other vanilla is good too. It's pretty plain, but what was the, oh, who is this? Victor Doom. What was the deal with Expedition? Still bummed that it went under. Do you keep in touch with Shanny still? Yeah, we keep in touch with Shanny. My wife actually probably talks to him more than I have lately. He FaceTimes us at like 6:30 in the morning usually because he's in Switzerland, so I feel bad sometimes I'm not ready to FaceTime that early, but we still talk to Shanny, and hopefully I want to go out to Switzerland soon and hang out. No, he moved back to Switzerland like a little over a year ago, or I forget how long ago. Yeah, because that's where he's from originally. He was from Switzerland, and he came over here when he was like a teenager to pursue like skateboarding, and like had a long, nice career kind of, and then things kind of, there just wasn't much for him around here anymore, and his family's all from there. So he went back a little while ago, which sucks, we miss him, but it was like, I wanted him to too, kind of, you know? I was like, why don't you go? Yeah, like if I were you, I'd totally go back home. Like, this place isn't that great. Like, you don't need to be here. What was the most satisfying trick or line you ever filmed? Probably kickflip back nose one down clipper, because, yeah, and that's kind of like the only like real trick I ever did. You know what I mean? It was like different than mine. I don't know. That was pretty satisfying that I didn't die and I actually landed it. The 2 back-to-back lines in the DC video with both kickflip nose blunts are all-time favorites of mine to watch. Thank you. Yeah. At Sarah's school, that was the best. I haven't skated there in a while, but that school, so good. I love those ledges. They're short enough to do like nose blunts on, because you know you feel like you're gonna die if the ledge is like too long, and it's like you can try anything on those things. Just tell me any story about filming One Love Part, from blowjob to fakie. Yeah, I think that's supposed to be First Love. That's an interesting name too. I don't really have many good stories about it that I can think of. Maybe if I think of one, I'll come back. But Concerned Skater. How come we never got to see a full-length video from the early Plan B revival team? I don't know. That was always the big question, kind of. Dudes had footage, some of us. Some people would have more, some people would have less, and then we would just end up, we would just do promos every like trade show pretty much, kind of, you know. We'd be like, okay, well, this footage is getting old, and you know, let's just make a 10-minute video and like start over. And I don't know, that's what we did for my time on there. They kind of came out with a video eventually that was full length, but it was a little late by then, kind of like, I don't know, I think it was intimidating probably too, you know, having that legacy of Plan B videos. Like, you don't want to just put out whatever, so I think they're, you know, was probably waiting for everyone to have banging shit all at the same time. And the promos were good. They were to get you sparked. Yeah. Yeah, that one was good, but yeah, each time you did one of those, you hit the reset button on your footage, you know, so it was like, now let's start over again. And you need some years to film those things, kind of. Have any Colin Fisk stories? He's super cool. I don't know if you guys know, he's like really interesting. And I think he used to skate in ankle weights, which is probably the only story I have. Is I think we heard that Reese Forbes did it, like for the High Ollie Challenge. And I think we all talked about doing it, but I think Colin was the dude that went and did it, and it worked. Like his pop, it worked, yeah. Colin all of a sudden could like smash these like shifty ollies over the biggest things. My dad would still see him. My dad worked in Boston at the Federal Reserve, and Colin is a bike messenger. So he'd like come in and like, Mr. Gallant, yeah, like talk with my dad and stuff. What are your secrets for frontside flips, nollie heels, and nollie flips? Please email me the answer. Thank you. That's from PD Knox. Should I talk about them, or should I really email this? I don't know your email. You didn't leave your email, bro. Frontside flips. For me, I try to like do like a a 45 to 90 degree kickflip, like really fast and catch it, and then just turn. It's not like a one motion. I don't know if that helps whatsoever. Nollie heels, I'm not very good at, so I would not give out any advice on those. Secrets for nollie flips. I don't know. It's kind of like just your toe. It's not like a nollie and a kickflip. You just kind of like barely flick it on the way up. You flip it on the way up and catch it. You don't like kick. Luddite or something says, do you still iron your pizza? I do not. My wife irons my pizza now. Homegrown 83 says, any funny Jeremy Rogers stories? Not in particular. He was just still is a very unique character, you know. He's like smart, you know what I mean? Like really smart, but like doesn't really care what you think, kind of. And he's always been like that since he was young. Like I remember meeting him and like I didn't know if I liked him or I didn't, you know what I mean? Because he had like this weird like, you'd like try to talk shit, like fun attitude, and like he used to show up in Etnies Mike Vallely's and like pajama pants, and like I don't know, he was just such a different kid. To see what he became all of a sudden years later with like the chains and the pink polos, and like, I mean, last dude I would have thought was gonna ride for Girl. You know, like when I first met him, I would never be like, this dude's gonna like be on Girl and be huge or whatever. He was really good, but that was shocking, and he's continued to shock people since then. But I like him. He's a good dude though, man. He does what he wants and he doesn't fucking care what you think. So I think that's how we should all be. But I liked his skating. I mean, I wish he would skate more, I guess, maybe. What was it like to go on tour with Ryan Sheckler and P-Rod? That was pretty wild. That was at like the height of Sheckler's fame, I think, was like those years on Plan B. Yeah, when his MTV show was going. So it was like, it was cool. Like we would get, you know, like VIP treatment places, you know, like, oh, walk on in, and just like, yeah, like that sort of stuff was cool. And then in other ways it was cool because like no eyes were on me. Like I could show up to the demo and it was just like, yeah, and I could just go like skate flag around in the corner and it was like no one's watching what I'm doing, kind of. So it was cool. I mean, I was honored to be with those dudes. I felt out of place. I didn't know why. Sometimes I'd be in the van, you know, kind of like, yeah, are these dudes bummed on me? Like, why am I here, kind of? But Doom Station 55. Did you notice a change in PJ's motivation after the Wonderful Horrible days? I don't know if I noticed a change in motivation, I'd say. He was still always like the biggest skate rat, kind of, and like wanting to do the best stuff. I think just maybe like footage-wise, we just didn't see as much.
Was he like, did he become maybe more self-conscious of the tricks he did, or?
I mean, I would imagine you'd have to. Like, I never talked to him much about it, but like, I think that part came out swinging, you know, like obviously, you know, people always talk about it, like he just kind of like he changed the skate world, you know what I mean? Like there were so many pros that'd be like, dude, when we saw that video, like we knew like our time was up, you know, like the stuff he was doing was just so next level that I would imagine it's hard to come out after that and be like, you know, like, yeah, I brought it or whatever. But like I always thought he could do anything, kind of like he would do like really tech stuff when I first met him, and obviously in that video there was still a lot of it, but like just watching him cruise around a skate park and just do like fakie flip crooks and like kickflip back tails, like just casually, was always like, you could just do this, you know, and like people would love to see this. But I think he always wanted to put out like, and just the best, you know, like it's got to be progressing, moving forward, kind of, not like cruising. Yeah, I think he was always pretty secretive though. I never really saw him try much. Yeah, he'd go down on his own and kind of have, yeah, like his own filmer, and like, you know, he didn't really do much of his performing, I guess, when we were out on trips and like all skating or something, you know. He would do his own thing. I think there was some, like, I think for the first ad though, he was trying to get something that got away from him. I think that's why, like, he was supposed to have one of the first ads or the first one, I can't remember. And he was trying something that was probably way next level and didn't get it. Where am I at? Also just want to say that flat ground frontside half cab in First Love that ends in the frontside flip down the stairs line is my favorite ever, and as a result I'll never like my own. I'm sorry. Keep trying them though. Don't give up. Patrick 2G. What is next for Visit? Just trying to grow it, I guess. Like maybe make an official team. I've kind of been like reluctant to have like a team necessarily because I just have so much to figure out on my own. I don't want to bring in people to rely on me, you know, if I blow it all of a sudden. Like there's times I've, ran out of boards and stuff. So it's like, you know, I don't want someone to be like, dude, I can't even get a box. Like, so things are going smoother. So I think as we grow, you know, try to maybe get some more people involved. And then I really want to work on getting in more shop accounts and distributors. A lot of the stuff has just been online, you know, direct sales. So this year I'm hoping to get into more shops all across the country and some international distributors I know we've been talking to, and hopefully we can, you know, start seeing visit in more places than just online and Instagram and stuff pretty much. What was it like skating with PJ back in Boston? It was insane. I mean, he was like the best dude ever, you know, like skating at the time, and like we got to just watch it all day, every day. And he was also like crazy. Like, I don't know how he is these days, but he used to like scream and throw temper tantrums and like, yeah, he was pretty nuts back then. So it was always kind of interesting. You'd be on edge, you know what I mean? Like, is this going to end well, or is he going to like throw a fucking fit in front of all these people? Yeah, he skated constantly. So we would have sleepovers and stuff when we were like still young, you know? And yeah, he'd wake up and it was like, put on shoes, like, let's go skate. It's like, yeah, and just skate all day, all night. Skate, skate, skate. And clearly it worked. Whoa, Tom, what was it like to go from Expedition to Plan B back to Expedition? Did you know for a while you weren't happy at Plan B? Were you talking to Expedition about going back, or did it just happen? So I think for a while I wasn't very comfortable at Plan B, like just on my own. Nothing they ever did, but like I was saying before, you know, just like, you know, superstars, yeah, and it's like I just had a different feel. I don't know, like I didn't feel like I deserved to be on the team in ways, and at the same time, like it's not what I was about, you know. They wanted like the biggest and best, and kind of like, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to just kind of skate, like keep it mellow. And so like I said, I felt kind of uncomfortable a lot, but it was not because of them, it was because of my own personal feelings. And then I never wanted to leave Expedition in the first place in the beginning. It wasn't like I hated Expedition and was like looking, you know. The Plan B thing came up and it wasn't something I could say no to. It was like a once in a lifetime type opportunity with that squad, and also the amount of money, and like it was just, yeah, like you had to do it, you know. And like I even talked to the owner of Expedition about it, and it was like, it wasn't fun to do, yeah, but I mean, like, get that, you know. So I did it, you know, and I tried it, and I'm honored and super grateful that that whole thing happened. But towards, yeah, the end there, I would still see, you know, the KO dudes around this area, and started talking a little bit with Troy and Eli at Gold. And, you know, I think they were just kind of like, if we can match you, like, would you come back over here? And by that time, like, we weren't making the mega bucks anymore. Like, things had already started going downhill a little bit, you know. And I was like, yeah, like, sounds nice, kind of, you know. So I went back. How did the iron not melt the cheese off the pizza? Was it not plugged in? Yeah, I don't think it was plugged in. You'd have to ask Roman about that, or Corden, I guess. Is that lamb for die or I am for die? Lamb for die. Gallant, first, you are one of my all-time favorite skaters. Your part in First Love is on repeat every day. Back in your DC days, you wore the sickest shoes. What were some of your favorite shoes, and can you tell us the inspiration behind your Pro Model DC shoe? Back then, I pretty much just wore like Mantecas and Avatars like on repeat, and those were the greatest. I love those. The inspiration behind my shoe was, first I tried to like design a shoe. I didn't realize like what designing shoes is about, kind of. We tried to like make an original shoe, basically, let's put it that way, and it like wasn't turning out right. Like it just wasn't looking like it should, and it was taking longer than it should. So we just kind of like had to can that real quick, and I think we just kind of took a design that was similar to the Manteca, and that was probably already like being worked on, you know. So it was kind of like, I don't know, because I just wanted the Manteca pretty much with my name on it. That would have been great. Next, we got Adam Abbas. I don't know how to say these, man. Sorry, guys, if I'm murdering your names. You used to not skate if you didn't land your first kickflip of the day. Do you still do that? And if not, what made you decide to stop? See, I don't do that anymore because basically ankle surgery. Like, I can barely land the first kickflip of the day just because I have to like warm it up now. But yeah, back in the day, I would always start my day with a kickflip, and I would usually land it, like almost always. And when I wouldn't, it would always like be in my head. You know, I'd be like, well, that was weird. Like, my kickflip's fucking way off today. And then I'd get hurt that day. Like, not like rolled ankle, but like break my arm or like ACL. And it would always be on that day when I'd be like, I missed the kickflip that day. So then it became, yeah, kind of a superstition, like a little bit weird. Like, a lot was riding on it. But like I said, as I got older and my body doesn't work quite as well, it's like I had to let that go. Yeah, so I think I had a few days where I missed my kickflip and I didn't die. And I was like, hey, life's going to move on if I don't do this. So we don't do that anymore. Back in the day, you had a little beef with Southie. Explain in your old Big Brother interview. Did you guys smooth that out? Yeah, we must do, I guess. We don't think Southie would just like to pick on people back then. We're Instagram friends now. We're all good. He, like, one night, I mean, I know the incident they're probably talking about. It was, like, the only time he, like, really got mad at me kind of and stuff was, like, on that same trip, Atlanta and Miami. We were driving the RV back, like, late at night, like, all-nighter style. And I think Southie had to go to, like, school the next day. Like, I think he was in college or something. And so we were just, like, being too loud, like, on the ride back, like, just fucking partying in the RV, like, annoying kid style. And I think I was probably talking shit back to him. And he had taken a palm tree, like a big palm tree frond from Miami back to Massachusetts, like as a souvenir, you know? And I remember he like came running at me with the palm tree thing, like trying to smash me with the palm tree. And like, I think he threw a stink bomb in the RV. It was like, those were the silliest days, man. But we're all good. I haven't seen him in years, but I would imagine we're okay. Or he might give me a wedgie when I see him. I don't know. Please tell a story about the owners of the Coliseum because they seem like characters. They were definitely characters. I don't even know where to begin with stories. I mean, they were the coolest. They gave us like everything for free, like which was unbelievable back then. Like the skate shop just giving you free girl boards and like, here, take some shoes and you probably need some pants, and taking us on trips. And like I said, they definitely liked hijinks. They were like down to like wreck a rental van. And the dude Artie, that was one of the owners, would like always MC the local demos. And he was like such a smart ass, but like super funny, like the funniest dude. But like I remember like dudes would show up and either they loved it or hated it, you know, like some teams would be like, get this dude off the mic, because they'd just be like saying like awkward, like he's probably on here, you know, like he has this type of sense of humor and like drop weird skate knowledge and people like mid-trick to like fucking weird them out during the demo. And that was a funny time in life, man. What's up with that white spot on your head? Yeah, we were just talking about that. It's a birthmark. I was born with a white spot on the back of my head. I don't know. Can you see that in that camera? It's white hair. It's my love button. What was it like riding for Circa? Seemed like it would have sucked. That's pretty funny. It wasn't the best. Like, didn't totally suck. Like I made some money for a few years and like whatever, you know, traveling. And I had a shoe, yeah. I almost had a second, but things kind of crumbled right before the second one came out. I think I missed Circa's good years. Yeah, like as soon as I got on, everyone would be like, oh man, you should have been on 2 years ago. And so I instantly knew I fucked up pretty much, you know what I mean? I was like, why? What do you mean? Like, oh, you know, and they'd have all the stories about the budget and all this. And it was like, you know, I came in at the wrong time. So thanks, Ryan. You're a big inspiration when I started. Thank you. RCB3. Was your first love song your choice or given to you? Either way, it worked beautifully. I believe that was a John Holland pick. I think when I saw my footage to it, I liked it. And I like that sort of music. You know what I mean? It was... People seem to like it. I mean, I was so self-conscious about, like, not that song, but just my part in general. Like, but people, yeah, like, still, like, that's so many years later. They always talk about, like, certain things with that part and how many times they watched it when they were kids. And I'm like, fucking stoked. Like, I'm glad it worked out. I wish I would have tried a little harder personally, but... The Germs? How came that intro of your digital part together? I think I know what you're saying. Is that the one with like Renee or something? Is that what he's talking about? Is that the digital part? If that's what you're talking about, I think it was just kind of pretty random, just like trade shows. I don't know if you ever went to trade shows back in the day, but like, yeah, I think that just kind of happened. Same thing, someone was kind of filming and became an intro. I don't know. I didn't put much thought into shit back then. Like I would just skate and let people do whatever I didn't care. I was like, on to the next one, whatever. I don't care. Do you prefer a real drum set or E-drums? Real drum set. Is iron pizza better? No. Something must break now. Says, yo Ryan, one of the best styles out ever and one of the best names for sure. Well, thank you. First off, are you a gallant man? Are you a brave knight? And do you, well, I guess it's gallantly, but I say my name Gallant. Gallantly hand the lady some flowers. Not really. My wife would probably disagree with this. Probably not very gallantly, but you know, it's my name. Second, how easy was kickflip back nose blunt on clipper for you? In the clip, it looks like you got up there and took it home first try. No big deal, or not really trying. Anyways, keep it up. Really enjoy all your footage since Wonderful Horrible Life. Clipper was the first day not easy because I never skate shit like that. So the first day I was like going full speed trying to clear it, and like my heart was racing, and I just wasn't like, it was like the opposite of casual that day. But I still almost did it somehow, but it was like, whatever, I just felt crazy. The second time we went up, I knew what to expect a little more. And yeah, I almost landed it first try. I think it was on like a Transworld site, maybe they showed it and stuff, but literally, yeah, like the first one I tried, I landed 1 foot, and I was like, fuck, I could have almost done that. Like, that would have been so good to do it first try. But it took a little bit of time, but Tim filmed it, yeah, he filmed both times. That trick just kind of works for me. Like mentally it was like scary and you don't have much run up. Like I didn't want to drop in. Like that was one of my main things too. I was like, I understand some tricks you have to drop in, but I'm not a fan of like bringing wood to spots and dropping in. It's something. So that was like another thing that was hard. It was like trying to throw down and set up. Sometimes you get to it just totally wrong foot position, you know, but you're like, I gotta jump anyway. So you just jump down that thing like, but yeah, it wasn't insanely hard, thankfully. Woost, is that how you say that? Maybe Woost. Wust. If you could add other riders to visit, who would it be? I don't know. Maybe PJ would be like probably the ideal dude. Like I don't even know what he's up to these days. Like if he skates or what he wants to do. But I haven't talked to him in a while. No, I know like it looks like he's getting into like yoga and which is sick. Like kind of spiritual journey. So yeah, he can be spiritual and visit if he wants. It would be kind of cool maybe to be together like towards the end. Best shoes you skated. I don't know. I mean, Mantecas and Avatars were best then. Nowadays, I probably couldn't stand them. So like Van slip-ons now. I just skate slip-ons. Yeah, it's like once I started skating slip-ons, there was like I couldn't go back. Like I put shoes on with laces, and I'm like, they seem so fat. Even if they're not, I'm like, I just actually got a pair of like Vans Classics. You know, like we used to call them 36s, like just the old schools with the stripe. I just bought a pair the other day, and it's like the first shoe I've had with laces in a while. And I'm like thinking about skating them. I'm like, am I skating them? But they just, yeah, I get some shoes from Stray sometimes, but like, I don't know, like I'm pretty picky about what I skate. Like I kind of only want white slip-ons. Yeah, sometimes I'll get a box and like they have some pretty wild stuff. Like the last box was like, it's like American flag shoes and like tie-dyed and Jesus on them and stuff. And I'll like spray paint them white sometimes, but I just feel weird hitting people up too these days. I don't want to feel like I'm bothering them or not asking for too much because I don't ask for much, but like I just kind of wanted to skate in Vans, so like I don't have a contract or anything, you know, like yeah, like oh, I mean maybe I'll skate in Strays again soon, but yeah, I mean I was gonna go online and order a pair just because like I'm down, like I don't expect much from people these days, like, and at the same time I don't necessarily want them to, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to feel guilty if I'm not like tagging you in the thing or yeah, like Vans slip-ons are probably my answer. They're so good. What's your favorite craft brew? What's in your opinion the most overhyped craft brew? This is from Concerned Parent. I don't know. I'm not like, yeah, what are we drinking right now? It's not the best. We try different things. This is a Goose Island IPA. It's okay. I don't know. I don't like remember many. It's like I just kind of try. Like if I see something that looks cool, I try it, and they're usually all pretty darn similar. My go-to is probably like Stone IPAs or like those Carl Strauss Aurora Hopialis ones. They're super good. Tell us a good story about Greg Myers. Shit, I don't know. He was a dick? No, he wasn't a dick. He was young, man. I always felt bad for Greg. Like he was young and came from like kind of a rough background, and like dudes kind of threw him a lot of money, supported his bad habits. You know what I mean? Like he was so young and just smoking tons of weed and like, you know, I think he was already like helping his like mom out with money, and it was like a lot to have on your plate when you're like a 13-year-old kid or something like that. But he was funny. Like I remember I roomed with him a lot in the early years, and he was too young to go out, and we'd all go out and party every night. You know, hotels have the mini bars, and they would always have to lock it and like not give him the key. And I remember I'd come back at like 2 a.m, and he'd be like passed out on the couch with like Snickers and Doritos all over him and like little alcohol bottles. He would just break into all the mini fridges, and like I don't think that worked out too well in the end, but I always got along with Greg. Nurple, we called him Little Nurple. Tap water gang or Dasani gang? I use something called the Berkey filter. It's like some big metal filter that like, I don't know, I guess it's supposed to be the best. Twisty, what do you like personally about tensors? Any setup nerdiness you want to share? Tensor gang, I don't know, I'm tense, yeah. I like to try new trucks all the time. Like I get bored, or not bored, but like I've always laughed like, oh, I bet Z-rollers are the best, or like, you never know. Like everyone just gets stuck, like I ride Indy. And it's like, well, have you ever tried like Creeper or whatever? Like maybe they're fucking great. So I was actually skating Crux for a while, like on my own. I just was like fascinated with Crux and wanted to try them. So I rode those for like 2 years. And oddly enough was thinking like, I want to skate tensors. Because when I went on the 9 Club, Roger Bagley, he swears by him. He's like, dude, you have to try tensor mag lights. I tried one set of tensors when I was a kid, and they were awful. Like when they had the plastic slide plate. Yeah, I was like so hyped to try them, and I remember being like, these things are just garbage. So I wrote tensor off forever. And then Roger told me that, and I was like already kind of curious, like maybe tensors are great. I've known Weiss forever, and Weiss randomly hit me up. He like kind of, you know, runs all that stuff over there, and was like, hey, I wanted to see if you would just try this new tensor, like the all-terrain geometry. I was like, sure, fuck it, I don't care, like they might be cool. So he sent me some tensors, and they're actually really good. Yeah, I wouldn't ride them. I mean, I'm buying my own shoes. Like I wouldn't ride them if I didn't actually like them these days. Skate nerdiness, I don't put washers on it, I guess, like I just do. Tensors come with like these good bushings that are like interlocking, but I like my board like to shake pretty much, like, you know, like floppy trucks. So I take those out and I put in Bones mediums, but I couldn't quite get them loose enough with the washer. So now I didn't always do it. Like with other trucks, I didn't do it. All the other trucks I rode, I would ride the mediums with a metal washer on the top still. But for some reason with these tensors, I just run it. Just no washer, yeah, and they feel super good that way. So how hard was it to get Kelly on visit? Not hard. I don't know. Like I've known Kelly forever, and it was kind of like a gradual thing. Like, well, this was even before, like, you know, out of the blue, I think he was just like hit me up one day like, hey, who makes your boards? And I thought maybe he was starting something, or like they were doing like 9 Club skateboards, or, you know, like I share everything. So I was like, oh, I get them made at X and, you know, whatever place. And I think I asked like, are you starting something or whatever? And he was like, no, I was just curious, you know? So I was like, well, do you want some? He's like, sure, I'll try some. So, you know, like I sent him a box, and then I think I would make jokes on Instagram. Like there used to be the hashtag Turn Kelly Pro. So I think I jokingly was like, Turn Kelly Pro for visit. And like I said, I'm scared to bring people aboard because I'm not some super solid dude with like a budget. Like, but he's down with what I'm doing, and I'm down for him. So like, yeah, it's sold. I mean, it goes in waves, you know. Right now it's just dead because everyone got their Christmas complete and like, or, you know, is broke from the holidays, or it's winter wherever you're living. So, but I mean, he's a welcomed addition, and like I've known him forever, and I back him. He doesn't have to go and film the gnarliest part. You know, that's not what I'm looking for these days, or what I'm about. It's kind of like I've known him forever. He's a solid dude. You know, he's on the 9 Club doing his thing. Like he's a character in skateboarding. You know, it's like to just do you and do whatever you want. You know, and if something better comes along, I'm not going to tell him to stay either. You know, like get dough if you can. Hopefully, I can give you dough one day, but. Francis Xavier, ups and downs of running your own brand that get pretty annoying. I think it's all just an up and down. You know, I didn't invent like a great app or come up with Amazon. It's like there's so many places to get a board. It's like, what do you put on a board that's different? You know, like I guess those would be some ups and downs. And it's like it comes weekly. You know, there's so many days where I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Like, why do we do this? And then it's like there'll be a few good days of sale, you know, and I'm like, yeah, I like this shit. Like this is what I want to do. And just ride the waves, bro. What's the secret to your hard flips? I don't know. They've kind of changed like a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty straight. I mean, almost like a kickflip position. And then I pretend like I'm gonna frontside flip, but I just like don't, you know? It's like my bottom half tries to frontside flip, and you just try to like catch it, and I don't know. I guess if that's frontside flip, but don't. But don't. Strangest fan encounter. I don't know, nothing too strange. Everyone's been pretty Nah, yeah, I'm not like some super dude, you know, like anyone that's a fan of me is usually like kind of like a more like grown-up-y skate nerd that's been around or something, you know, like they probably won't even say anything. I hate Julio or Julio, not sure. What was the gnarliest or strangest session you ever walked up on just going about your day running errands? I don't know if I ever have. I see pros around here all the time. Like you'll bump into like Tony Hawk at like 7-Eleven and stuff, and it's always really weird. Yeah, the Caballero will be behind me on the way to Starbucks, and that shit's kind of funny. Like I remember when I first moved to California, I think like the first night here I went to the grocery store and bumped into Matt Mumford and was just like, you know what I mean? Like there was no pros around where I lived, so it was like so weird to like be like buying cereal next to like Matt Mumford. Like, but it's like there's so many out here. What's that? He did actually back then, yeah, and he was super cool and like, you know, we just both were like, hey, how you doing? Nice, like, you know, like a little respect and move on. You buy what you gotta buy, I'll buy what I gotta buy, like. But I did bump into Zero everywhere. There was like this couple-year period where they're right here and they had like everyone living there at the time, remember? They would have like dudes living at the park. And so it was like any time a spot became skatable around here or you heard about a new spot, every time I went there, I'd try to go out like 9 in the morning, you know? And it's like I'd show up and it was like Zero vans already parked there, dudes on the roof filming. Like those dudes, man, they were getting it. But I wasn't running errands. I was usually like, I was trying to go there too, but they were just on point. Lord Quaz, not a question, but rather a statement. Visit is fucking dope. Keep killing it. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. You guys are like the most critical bunch. You were the main ones I was worried about, so thanks. I'm sure there's plenty of you that don't think it's that dope. But Tuna, who are your drumming influences? If you could play like anybody, who would it be? I don't really know. I don't like keep up with drummers like I do skaters, you know what I mean? Or like I don't really know their names, but probably like some metal drummer. Like I got pretty fast double bass, but I don't have like the blast beats. Like I'd like to be able to go pretty fast around the kit. Any interesting stories from skating for friendship? You watched Duncan kickflip through a swing, right? Yeah, those dudes would come down and we would skate curbs and get weird and have fun. Always a super good time. And yeah, I saw Duncan kickflip through that swing. I think it was even on foam ground. Maybe I'm making that up, but I'm pretty sure he did it on that like foam playground ground. Yeah, I think he kickflipped off that shit through a swing, which is very dangerous. But those dudes are always rad. Super fun skating with them. Double Steve Burger. Nice, Steve. Hey, Ryan, big fan. Would you rather poop out a softball or pee out a marble? Oh, is this? You actually bring one? Holy shit. Oh, man. That's pretty big to poop out. Like, it'd probably feel great, like, after it came out, like, the relief. But I don't know, man. That would be... I don't want anything going through my pee hole either, though, at all. That sounds like a nightmare, so... Gay asks, are you, in fact, Gallant? Oh, like the name? Like the night thing again? Not really. I don't think so. Bad Joke asks, or are you Goofus? Why do I feel like those all, like, went along correctly? Goofus and Gallant, right? That's like a cartoon or something. I think in that case I'd be a little more Gallant. I'm not like Goofus, but... what's the East Coast meal you miss most due to not being available or not quite right in Cali? This is from No Nickname. Other than Dunkin' Donuts, obviously, which is hard to find. Probably like every town on the East Coast has like a sub shop. Like whatever the town is. Like we had Southborough House of Pizza, and it's like every town has like their house of pizza, and they all have like the same formula. And you can get like subs, and like I think I missed the East Coast, just normal subs. It's just different out here. Like there's really good sandwiches out here, and you can even get like them at pizza places, but I don't know how to explain it. It's like different. It's like everyone has this one same formula. It's so good. Tay Canadian Soup? You've got to wrestle one person from the Wonderful Horrible Life video. Who do you pick and why? I mean, definitely not Southie. We all know that one. He was strong. He was a strong guy. Not PJ either, because he was crazy. He'd like bite your face. I probably could have thrown Jeremy around pretty easily back then. Are we talking nowadays or back then? Because back then I probably would have picked Jeremy. Maybe the Shermanator. Maybe I'll pick Jeremy. Yeah, not because I don't like him. I think I'd have the best chance against Jeremy. Snowman600 asks, I love all your trick tips. If you had to put out a new one, what trick would it be for? Thanks. I don't know. I don't know what trick tips I did before. People have told me they like my trick tips, which is really weird because it's not like I didn't do like a trick tip series, but over the years, like I've always heard that people would come up to me and be like, I learned nollie flips from watching your trick tip video. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe I might do some more with those. Maybe I'll start a YouTube account. And what was the other, what trick would it be for? I don't know. I don't know what I did before. Slappies, I guess. I mean, that's kind of generic answer, but what's your favorite skate shoe of all time? For greatness wise, I'd go like Kareem, like the KCKs, you know, like the Lynx. Those are the main two that come to mind for some reason. Those are like the sickest kind of, you know what I mean? Like they were kind of like such a big deal to me where like, Danny D says, how did your teammates react to your Fuck Mall Shops grip tape? No one even cared. It was so small and not a big deal. It was like one salesperson, you know, I think pretty much. I mean, like everyone was there, like the whole team pretty much. It was like a big event. And I think everyone blew it. It wasn't just me. Like, I think the whole event didn't go well for DC in general. And I think I was the main, like, somebody's got to pay for this because it was a shit show. They, like, built a big vert ramp and, like, nobody was out there to skate vert. And, like, I had, like, some fucking person yelling at me, like, you got to be on the vert ramp, like, in 10 minutes. And I'm like, I'm looking over my shoulder, like, you're talking vert ramp? Like, I don't skate vert. Like, but, yeah, it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't like I was, like, picketing or something, you know? Yeah, like, I rode it so little and, like, carried on with my neck. And then basically, like, one person saw it, like, when I went back to the RV and kind of panicked and was like, you can't have this, because, you know, their job was to make journeys happy, and I get it. Like, whatever, you know? No one cared about it, though. Is PJ as crazy about his setup as people say, constantly changing shapes and such? I mean, last time I checked, he was, yeah. Not his whole setup. I think he's always ridden, like, venture lows and, like, 50s, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that aspect of it's probably changed, but he's definitely been on this lifelong mission to, like, to make the perfect skateboard, which is, like, I think, you know, there's something he's looking for that he hasn't found, and I don't know. Like I said, I'm not super in touch with him these days. You know, like I said, I remember going along on that ride for a bit too, like, yeah, what could be better? Like, and that's how I started riding girl boards, but then at a certain point, I was just kind of like, just fucking give me whatever's off the, you know, like, I still want the steepest one of the stack, but, like, I can't go and, like, you know, like, you hear Paul Schmidt talk about, like, your legs and this much flat, and, like, maybe that is the best if you fine tune it, but, like, it matters. Yeah, when I used to go to KO, like, they used bareback wood, and some would be way flatter than others. So yeah, I would, like, move the stack sideways, and you could kind of see where the steepest one would be. It would, like, create a space, you know. So, like, I would know to, like, grab this one. Yeah, and I'm still the same way. It's like I still want the steepest one, because you'll be surprised from the same stack of boards, like, one will feel so flat and bendy, and, like, another one will feel so stiff, and, like, and it's just like, yeah, how many they're printing. And I don't know what PJ, like I said, what he's trying to accomplish, but he has something in mind. Fakey Nolly says, are we in another housing recession, or should I buy a house in Southern California? I don't think we're in a recession yet. I wouldn't suggest buying one right now. The prices are pretty darn expensive. Maybe wait a couple years, and if they crash, buy, but we are not at an all-time low out here, man. Maybe you can come rent mine, though, because we might have to get out soon. Who are 3 AMs you'd want on visit? Dude, I'm so bad at knowing, like, I feel like everyone's pro these days. Like, yeah, I mean, like, AM's weird. Like, you're either, like, great or you're not these days. It's kind of weird. I really like that kid, William Gomez. I don't know if you know him. He, like, used to ride for Organica, kind of, I think, or get boards from them. I've sent him some visit boards, but I think he's trying to do some other things. Who else is AM? There's a kid from Massachusetts that I follow on Instagram named Taylor Clark. His Instagram name is, like, T Clark. He seems like he's, like, the best, so I'll just take those two. Does Kelly giggle every time you call him? Probably. I mean, I don't call him often, but he giggles frequently.
Like,
no. And
yeah, he's a giggly, laughy dude. What's the gnarliest trick you've seen go down in person? Probably, like, any of the or the early mega ramp stuff. Like, when that was first built, like, I didn't know what it was, and I remember them, like, taking me out there, like, oh, come out to Point X, it was called. I would go down the bank part, and then, like, at Woodward, they have a mini mega that we all launched one summer, but, like, no, I would never mess with the big one. I got to drive the golf cart up the hill, though, like, for the bales, you know? So we would just sit out there and drink beer and just like watch gnarly shit go down. And then like, dude, insane. Like if you blow it early on, you're just knee sliding like 100 feet. Then your board's over here, you gotta grab it. Come to the golf cart. It was like a windy dirt road up to the top, and then they gotta climb up the ladder, and it's like, wait for the wind to die down, like just, but yeah, sometimes we would be out there and Danny would just like, I can't even remember the tricks he would do, but I mean, that was like the gnarliest stuff to watch back then. Shifty Flip says, your setup always looks very low. Do you shave your bushings down, or is it just the smoothness of your style that makes even your setup look appealing? Or small wheels maybe. I don't ride low trucks anymore. I used to. I do ride like 50s or even below. Like I had some 44s and some 47s recently. Yeah, like I said earlier, I don't use a washer, but I don't think that makes my board any lower. So I don't know, just 50s and normal trucks. And
But you skated lows for a while.
I skated lows for a long time until probably like maybe like 5 years ago or so. I like rode a set of indies, and then I rode for Thief for a minute and like helped him make the low truck at Thief. But then like by my end of the time on Thief, I was starting to skate the high just because I started getting into turning more, and like I didn't want to get wheel bite. And then yeah, ever since then I just ride like mid to high, I guess. I don't know. What's your slap handle, lurker or never lurked? I do not have an account or whatever. I've been lurking for like forever. Yeah, like since as long as I can remember. It's like in my iPhone, it's like my frequently visited website, you know. I just like to hear what people are saying. It's funny because I'll have an opinion on some shit, you know, and you don't want to feel like you're the only crazy person. So it's like relieving when you go on and you see someone like already beat you to the punch, and you're like, fuck, thank God someone thinks that too. Like, I'm not alone. And thanks, you guys are never too bad to me. Hopefully you don't like go in on me for this for some reason, but I'll be watching. Can we please get another of those Shifty flips in the visit part that's coming soon? Sure, I will do that. Make Kelly's next graphic a hyena, please. Is that for like his laugh or something? Or maybe. I need to come up with a graphic. Send in your hyena drawings. Sneaky Secrets says, I was watching your Wonderful Horrible Life part right after it came out, and my mom walked by and said, you can tell that guy really knows what he's doing. That was the first and last time she said anything about skateboarding. Does that make you feel a sense of pride, or do you not give a shit? I think that's awesome. I think your mom's, she's a smart lady. She really knows what's up. Wasted Hippie says, big fan of your first love part. Did you hang out with the other guys in that video a lot during filming? Any good stories? I didn't really hang out with them much. I mean, Richard Angelides lived around here, so we would both go out with John Holland. Like, we kind of separated, you know, like some dudes would go out with one filmer, and it was like I went out with John the whole time. So I think Leo and maybe Shiloh, or I don't know. I just know I went out with John all the time. Leo came down here one night, and I took him to the Scripps rail, and I think he like backflip shoveled it. They went on a trip to Spain, but I didn't go. I bailed on that one, and then sometimes we'd go up to Sacramento. Like we probably did a few Sacto trips, so we'd meet up with Omar and Richard. And I already knew Richard and Omar. Yeah, that was, so I had gone to Spain already with DC, and I had a bunch of footage with Greg Hunt, and Greg and John were friends. So when I bailed on the Spain trip, I think they were kind of concerned, and so Greg just gave them my footage, you know, like, yeah, on film, like I would do them randomly, like over a hip or something, or, you know, but like that was like the only one I did in a video part. I tried them again recently and I couldn't do it. I want to do it again. Like I said, the ankle though, it's hard. Well, yeah, thank you guys for your questions. Hopefully that went okay, and I'll be lurking. I'll see you guys next time. Shalom.